Hi, it's Shelly from FaithX, helping you connect your faith and your business with confidence. I've been thinking a lot about what rest means and is, and how I can rest in the midst of all the things that are going on in my life, instead of feeling like rest has to only happen as an escape, or rest has to happen when things are all perfect and I can get away and have like an actual vacation and nothing going on and I don't have to check my email or anything. It's just not how it works. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what I'm learning right now, and maybe some things that you can reflect on as well. So stay tuned. So in general, I think I've come to rest with this concept of conditions have to be perfect, or I have to be able to completely get away in order to feel rested, or in order to experience rest. And obviously that just is so rare, right? It's really hard to get away completely from a lot of things that are stressing me out and a lot of things that are in my life. And even if I go somewhere else, like my thoughts are still there with me. So it's not just about getting away from work, or like not sitting in front of my computer or whatever it is. It's actually still about, how do I kind of that mindset of rest, I guess, if you want to use like a entrepreneurial term and apply it to this situation. Mindset is really big, but I think that is part of it, is like, how do we come into our lives? How do we approach these situations with this mindset of rest, right? With this knowledge that we are supposed to and can, like we're able to rest in any situation. And how do we do that? So I was reading in Psalm 55 earlier today, and it just struck me some of the things that were in there, so I wanted to explain a little bit about that. So skipping first to verse 5 and 5, 6, 7, and 8, so Psalm 55. And I urge you to read the whole thing for context, but just for the sake of this video, I want to keep it short. So in verse 5, it says, "Fear and trembling have beset me, horror has overwhelmed me. I said, oh, I wish I had the wings of a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. I'd flee far away and stay in the desert. I'd hurry to my place of shelter, far from the tempest and the storm." And so the context of this is that this is David's psalm. He's writing in the middle of a battle. His enemies are surrounding him, like most of his psalms, right? His enemies are surrounding him. He has a lot going on, and he's wishing that he could just get out of the area. Matthew Henry is a commentator who writes that David wanted more. He valued rest and escape and quiet more than he valued the victory at this moment, right? It didn't really matter that he won or didn't win. What mattered was that he could just leave and get some rest, because he was so overwhelmed with what was going on. And I completely identify with this feeling. In the past couple of weeks, I've just been feeling like, oh, I just need to get away. I need to have a vacation. I need to just like take some days off. And yeah, I probably did. I wasn't sleeping enough. I was working too much. I had a lot of projects and a ton of meetings going on in the last 2 weeks. But escapism wouldn't have really worked, right? Like my brain was still going like a mile a minute. I would have taken that with me to wherever I went. When I come back, the stuff is still going to be with me. It doesn't just go away because I left for 2 days. It would still be here when I came back, and probably worse off, because I wasn't paying attention to it in the way that I should have. Not that you always have to pay attention to everything. Like I think we're a lot more dispensable, even if we're the only person in our business. I think that we can rest more often than we think we can, but that's something that I want to pick up again in a little bit. But it's not like, for example, if David had just left from the battle, right? Pretend he could instantly become this dove, fly away, and go to a quiet little spot where he was safe. That still left all of the mess, all of the war, all of the other people that were still being affected, right? There were still things going on that wouldn't have been solved magically just because he could escape. So the situation does not leave just because you can leave. And I think that's really important to know and to notice about this passage, is that just because, that's what we wish, like it doesn't mean that we're not supposed to wish that. I think David is a great example of bringing whatever we're feeling to God honestly and not letting it keep us from God. But what we are experiencing, if we do want that wish to like, I just wish that I could leave, I wish that I could just get away from everything, reconsider like what is going on. What are you overworked? Are you not getting enough sleep? Are you doing things that are unnecessary? Or are you filling all of your empty time? Because I think we have a lot of empty time. At least I do. I have a lot of empty time that I fill with other things, right? Like I fill with TV or I fill with social media, where if I just didn't do that for maybe those 2 weeks when I'm completely overwhelmed with work stuff, and I just saved and protected the empty space for rest, it would be a lot better. So what I want to talk about now is how can we rest in the middle of these things instead of like fleeing from it. So continuing on in chapter 55, Psalm 55, verse 17 and 18, it says, "Evening, morning, noon, I cry out in distress, and he hears my voice. He rescues me unharmed from the battle waged against me, even though many oppose me." And this was really reminded me of a lot of times when David in other Psalms writes, though my enemies surround me, God is with me, or though my enemies surround me, like I am safe. And he just trusts in God because it doesn't matter that he's in the middle of the battle. He has found out how to trust in God, who does not change, right? Who's always there, who's always protecting him, who can be his source of rest and peace, even if this battle is going. He doesn't have to escape to experience that peace because God is already with him, and God is the one who gives us that peace, that unchanging peace, right? It doesn't matter our circumstances, but God's peace is always there. So in verse 22 and 23, David talks a little bit about how he's experienced this and how he encourages other people to do this. So again, this is still Psalm 55. It's a long one. He says, "Cast your cares on the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken." And then it goes on, it talks about some of the wicked and how they're like always going to have this strife and it's not going to go well for them. And at the end he says, "But as for me, I trust in you." So it went from, telling other people and then back to telling God, like, hey, I trust for you. It doesn't matter what these other people are doing. I'm trusting in you. And I want to remember that in my life as I go into the next couple of weeks ahead after coming out of, and maybe, some things are going to change. Like naturally, some of the projects are in a different phase now, but some of the things are still going to be there, right? Like I'm still going to have meetings. I'm still going to have my work projects in general. I'm still going to have a desire to rest. So I would like to learn and practice, how do I rest in God in the middle of all of this situation, right? In the middle of all these things, how do I cast my cares on God? How do I, Matthew 11 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." How do I do that, right? How do I continue to learn and to practice, because it's not a skill that just instantly happens, right? It's a skill that's practiced, to learn to trust God, to get to know him more so that I can trust him more, so that I can rest in him more, even in the middle of all of this stuff that seems like it's not going well for me right now, but actually I'm trusting that God has this in control, that he knows the future, that he's already in the future, that he knows how it's going to turn out, that it's going to be okay, and that it's going to go well for his glory and for my good. So if you have something like this in your life, I would urge you to reflect about what it is that's going on. Are you feeling like in order to get rest, you have to have perfect circumstances or time when you can perfectly get away or escape from everything instead of facing it? Because this is not something that God is like, deny your environment and your reality. No, these things are here. Like, acknowledge your reality. But part of that reality is that we have a good God who is eternal and never changing, and he has immense love and peace for us. And I want to remember that, and I want you to remember that. So if you want to join with me in this, put in the comments, just I'm in. Say something like that. Just commit to yourself that you're going to try to practice this in the next couple of weeks, to try to make space in the middle of whatever is going on for rest that is not escapism, but based on the truth of who God is. So thank you for joining me again for this week. I'm Shelly with FaithX, helping you connect your faith and your business with confidence. If you like this video, please subscribe for more videos every week on Wednesdays. And soon we're going to have the Sword and Savvy interview series coming up in summer. So this is interviews with established Christian entrepreneurs talking about how their faith impacts their business and how their business impacts their faith. I'm really excited about it. I've done some of the interviews already. I'm looking forward to some more. It's going to be good. There's lots of value there. And I know that you're going to learn a lot in terms of how you can grow in your relationship with God and in your business. So thank you very much again for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, and put a comment, I'm in, if you're in with trying to find out how to rest in the midst of your circumstances.